You have your Discord up as well?
Yeah.
All right, cool. In case I need to send you a message.
Last time it was okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And don't forget about Vapor. He made a really good comeback on those tires at the end of Australia and the end of lap.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be looking out for Vapor. A couple issues with the contact under the safety car in last weekend's race, but drivers will have gone over that already with the stewards, and they'll be focusing now on getting the best result here in qualifying. And you're right, because he did make a good comeback. He kept his head down, he kept going, he kept pushing, and I believe, yeah, last weekend he ended up with fastest lap overall of the race and a P7. So they'll be looking good from the points. Speaking of the points, we can do a quick rundown of the order. So Domingos won last weekend, so that puts him in place number 1 here going into round 2 with 26 points total. We got Shep, who ended up in P2 last weekend. Now he's 23 points in the Ferrari. Then we've got Yuppie at 21 points. In 4th, we got Spartacus Mills. I believe that's Nico John, 19 points. And then we have Steinmine in 5th with 16 points. Scorpio in 6th with 14. Again, Vapor in 7th with 14. Boko McLaren in 8th with 12. And then we have Rusty and Bro Controller rounding out the top 10. And anyone else that you see here will be looking to get some points here today to join those standings here. And that's including NAFTA, who we spoke about, who hadn't been out for the last couple of races, but making his debut today here for Mercedes.
If you see, Steinmine is on mediums already.
Yep.
So
I'm going to pull up the telemetry, make sure I got all the information here. And who's on a hot lap? Anyone on a hot lap yet?
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yep, he just started his. And Nico John as well.
I think Nero. Yeah. Oh, no. So it also looks like out of all the runners, he's in the Haas. Looks like he's the first person on a hot lap. So he's coming around turn 13.
Sector 2 we have off somebody.
Yeah,
Nico John is spun.
Looks like it, yeah.
So his lap is ruined as well.
So now we're on board with Oso as he completes his lap. And he's 130.009.
Oh, NAFTA.
And everyone's coming through the order. Vapor with a 128.851. McLaren as he's starting his hot lap.
Domingo's on the hot lap as well.
Canino's crossing the line, and he's in P1, 127.3. It's a great lap. Oh no, that was NAFTA. Canino got a 127.685. NAFTA got a 127.394. So NAFTA showing incredible pace. As Tim Lee, he's crossing the line to start his hot lap. And Tiny Darth goes into the pits. And he hadn't set a lap, so You'll wonder what happened, but I think he was the one that may have spun out in turn 10 there. Maybe he lost a piece of the wing. And who is that that's off? Looks like Hochi's off to the side there.
And
Maybe.
Neron, he's fastest in sectors 2.
Let's go on board with Nira. And he's coming around turn 14 and 15 here. On the run down to the line. 129.064. A nice lap from Nero.
He lost a crucial time in the first sector. He was the fastest in the second one.
Canino's jumping into the pits. Rusty crosses the line with a 129.846. That puts him in P8. And Yeppy doesn't look like he's at full speed. He's probably conserving those tires for the race. He's jumped into the pits. On board with Hochi. It looks like he's going to do the same. As does Domingo behind them.
And Steinman. Steinman just went to that curb, what you were saying, uphill curb, and he almost spun, but he kept it under control.
Oh, so he will have lost time there. And we'll see how much time it's going to cost him.
Yeah. It's not a good lap at all. He's coming in the pits as well.
And he aborts the lap. Yeah, in a situation like that where you know you didn't beat the time, you might as well jump into the pits, because by the time you get back into the pits again, it could be a while and the time is ticking. So we're on board with McLaren, and he's jumping into the pits.
The last three, they are on out laps right now.
Yeah, and I'm on board with Rusty. He makes his way on the main straight, but he jumps into the pits. So it looks like Nico John will be the first of the runners of the last three to start his hot lap to work. We'll go on board with him. And he's going to be pushing it to the limit here. Brakes at the 100 board just about. Nice and tidy through there. Through 2. Through 3. As wide as possible before the entry.
Nice. Sector 1.
Yep, nice and easy through 5, 6, and 7. Cleanly through 8. Here's the tricky 9 and 10 section. Downhill braking. Well, that was almost a cut of the track there, but he gets away with it. The run down to 11. Uphill, right-hander, flat out. Turn 12. Into 13, late apex, and he gets. Is that an invalidation on that?
Yeah, it is.
So the stewards are. The track. Yep, the stewards are strict with the track limits here, so that's not going to count. He's going to have to go again. So now we're on board with Tiny Dart as he makes his run down to the line.
That's a good lap.
We'll see where this puts him. 127.190, so he's on provisional pole. Great lap. Now we're on board with Hochi as he makes his run down to the line, and this is his out lap, so he's starting his hot lap. And Canino had just crossed the line, but he doesn't improve his time. Domingos is starting his hot lap. We're on board with Oso. and he improves his time. He goes up one position to 129.682, so he's into P9.
Domingos overshot the first corner, so he lost at least half a second there, just in the first corner, and the second corner.
The line. And that's Domingos, you said?
Yes. Domingos just overshot the first and the third corner as well, really wide. And
that one as well.
Yeah,
it makes you wonder what's happening. It seems like he's pushing a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
And it's costing him in the lap time. It's always about finding that right balance between attack and while also still being relaxed and calm.
Exactly. You have to know your limits.
But it's a fine line, as we're seeing. Oh, and who's that? That's off. Looks like Nero spun. Nero spun in that 9-10 section. Let's go on board the racing point. So this is Domingos, and he improves his time to 128.628, but makes you wonder how much more he could have improved that if it wasn't for going wide.
Yeah, I think he would be in pole position.
Vapor jumps into the pits. Daily Dose of Death crosses the line, and he's still in 14th. NAFTA crosses the line. Oh no, that's not NAFTA. Who's that? The action is happening so fast I can barely keep up here. We'll go on board with Nico John. Oh, Nico John looks like he invalidated his lap. So he's sitting in 8th. He's going to need to come into the pits and get on a new tire and do it all over again. So we're on board with now with Tim Lee. Tim Lee's crossing, looks like turn 14, 15 on the main straight. And he improved his time to 129.241, so he's in P10.
Yep, he's on a good lap as well, P4.
Looks like Canino had invalidated his lap, so he's jumping back into the pits. We're on board with NAFTA, turn 14 and 15. Now he's on the run to the line on the main straight. We'll see if he can improve. And he does slightly improve his time.
And Yappy and Daily Dose of Death is really holding up Yappy. He had purple second sector as well.
Well, it's just like in Monza, right? The traffic can hurt you, and it has hurt him. He doesn't improve his time.
He was 3/10 up on the second sector, and Daily Dose of Internet Daily Dose of Death he just hauled him up so much, so bad.
Do you think he saw him coming, or what happened?
I don't know. I saw his second sector as well, and he came out of turn 11, turn 12, the uphill section.
Yeah.
As he spans down. He came out of turn 12, the uphill section, and as he was going through turn 13, Daily Dose of Death, he was just off the track, and he cut inside in front of Yappy. So I don't know what happened, if he saw him, if he didn't see him, but it was interesting. I think that would be a penalty for me, at least. That's a penalty. And NAFTA going first.
NAFTA in P1 with the 126.889. Great lap. Great lap by NAFTA. So it really is tit for tat right there at for first and second there. A little over a couple of tenths. What is it, like about 3 tenths or so? Rusty is crossing the line, but he invalidated his lap, so that time's not going to count.
And Tiny's on his out lap. He's going to start his.
And there's
flying
more
lap
traffic
now.
ahead. There's more traffic ahead. But it looks like he's going to jump into the pits. So yeah, Yuppie, or Tiny, starting another lap. We might change over to Hochi here in a second, but we'll come back to Yuppie. Hochi's turned 14, 15. He's jumping into the pits. Vapor's on a hot lap, turned 14 and 15 on the main straight, making a run down to the line. He's in P6, so want to improve. And he does not improve. He's still in P6. Nafta jumping into the pits. Nico John crossing the line, does not improve. Steinmine on the run down to the line. He's in P11. He'll want to improve here. And he does not improve, so he's still P11. On
That
board
was
with
his
the-
out lap.
Oh, was that his
He
out lap?
just
Okay.
started. Yeah, he
Okay.
just started his.
So we're on board here with
final.
McLaren. McLaren is crossing the line. And he does not improve, unless that was another one setting up his lap. Also, and it looks like Rusty's jumping into the pits, also crosses the line. He's still in P12. Nero right behind him. You'll wonder if this was a good decision by Nero to get so close to Oso, because he may be getting held up later on in the lap, and he invalidates his lap anyway. And Tiny has invalidated his lap.
Wow.
So he's going to do another run here. Let's stay on board with him. This is it. So if you're crossing the line now, qualifying will be over by the time you get back around. So this looks like it's going to be the fight for pole position. Let's stay on board with Tiny. As everyone else who's crossing the line will have a chance to do one more lap. So it looks like purple sector for number 1.
Oh, that was a huge sector.
That's the fastest sector so far in the session. Late on the brakes for 9 and 10. Really nice entry and exit there. Into 11. And 12. And then 13 here. Very unorthodox corner there, that one.
If he keeps this clean, that's a pole position, I think.
This looks like a great lap so far. And you know the track only gets faster and faster as the section goes on. So, looks like a great lap so far, and we'll see where this puts him. He's currently in P2.
Oh.
And he's on pole, 126.403. So you just saw it there, folks. That is a pole position lap. Scorpio crosses the line, and he's into P15. Go on board with Vapor. He crosses the line, and he does not improve. So he's 128.532. He's still in 8th. Steinmine. So we missed his last lap, but he had improved to P6, 128.408, and this lap looks to be invalidated, so probably going to jump into the pits. No, he's fixed it out.
Nino is on a good lap as well, just 10th off of the fastest sector.
And also right behind him. So we're on board with Nero.
Well, the
Into
second sector
14
was
and
really
15.
bad.
Not the best exit out of 15. But he improves his time to 128.376, so he's in P6, and that bumps everyone else down.
I think that's it.
That looks to be it.
Yeah.
Tim Lee's crossing the line still. He's in P11, and he doesn't improve. Daily does the death crosses the line and he does not improve.
Everybody's in the pits or finished.
Yeah, it looks like this is it. So this will be our running order. We got Tiny Dart making his first appearance, making his debut here in Performance Racing League. And he is in, it looks like the Alfa Romeo, and he's on pole position. So P2 right behind him. Just 4 and some odd tenths behind him is NAFTA making his debut in the Mercedes. Then we got Canino in the Ferrari, Yeppy in the Mercedes, Hochi Desu in the AlphaTauri in P5, Nero in the Williams in P6, Steinmine P7 in the Red Bull, Domingos P8 in the Racing Point, Vapor P9 in the McLaren, Nico John in P10 in the Racing Point, P11 is Tim Lee in the McLaren, P12 is Oso in the Haas, P13 is Rusty, and it looks like that is the Alfa Romeo. McLaren is P14 in the Renault, Scorpio P15 in the Red Bull, and Daily Dose of Death P16 in the Williams. Rounding out the order.
Gaps. Look at the gaps, first and third. It's more than a second. That's a huge gap right there.
It is, but at the same time, it also becomes a lot tighter in the midfield, so to speak, here, because from P5 all the way down to P10, pretty much, they're not separated by much.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a nice fight. And I'm still convinced that NAFTA and Canino could go faster. I think they ran into issues getting clean laps there. I saw Canino invalidate at least one lap on his second run.
Yeah, me too. As well as Nico John was invalidating his laps, and he was really fast, but he couldn't put together a nice clean lap.
Cool. So it looks like now they're going out in the formation lap.
And Tim Lee and Rusty Oil Can is on mediums. Seems interesting.
So they're going for the one-stopper.
Yeah, they will go for the one-stop. Well, anyway, you can go for a one-stop, you know, if you start on soft. But they will go mediums and softs, so that will be interesting to see their pace at the end. Or maybe if something happens in the front, you know, like midfield or start of the midfield, they can gain so much places and so much time as well with that one stop from medium to soft.
But do you think it really is faster than a soft medium strategy here? Or is it about staying in front and trying to stay in front when they pit right behind you?
Well, if you go with the mediums, for sure it will be slower in your first 5 laps, you will be much slower than the soft runners. But after you can be on those mediums for 10 to 12 laps as well.
Right.
And they have to pit once in lap 8 or so, and they will be by the time the medium runners will pit, so let's say 10th lap or 11th lap, the soft runners will be on 4 lap olds mediums.
Right.
So it will be slower and slower. So it's interesting. I wouldn't do this for sure because it's risky. Because you will be so much slower when the soft runners come in.
Right.
For the stop, you will be so much slower on this track because it's really fast corners. You lose the grip, so it will be interesting to see. I think 2 stops is always better than a 1 stop. If you think you can be faster than the guys behind you.
I hope everybody was listening to Renee dishing out some valuable information there. Everyone will be, I'm sure, taking notes. As now they're on the grid. And the lights are going on here. We got 5 lights. And they're off. And Tiny gets a good start.
Oh god. A massive start. A rocket start.
Great start by Tiny. And he holds on to P1. Yeah.
Oh! Domingos. He just torpedoed everybody in the first turn.
And it looks like they got through just fine and his wing's okay, so...
And also just spun and lost his wing as well. Lost his end plate.
I think his end plate is okay, actually.
Yeah?
Something must have come
yeah.
out.
Sorry, I was mistaken, sorry.
So maybe someone has lost an end plate.
Oh, sector 2, somebody's up.
And it looks like Rusty
and
made a
two guys
move.
as well.
And who is that?
Team Lee and Ron. And he spun as well.
Oh boy. Now, yeah, it looks like Nero's has spun as well. We'll go back here to the lead. And already Tiny is 8 tenths ahead of NAFTA. Let's go on board with NAFTA because he's going to be fighting with every inch to try to stay with Tiny. It's so crucial to stay within that 1 second and for those first 3 laps or so until you have that DRS.
Yeah, but you have to be careful with the dirt here as well.
You do.
Because it affects you so much in these fast corners.
Yeah. And the less grip you have on the corners, the more you're going to slide, and the more you slide, the more you're going to wear out your tires and heat them up, and it causes problems. But he's able to still remain about 7, 8 tenths or so behind. And just behind them, we have a battle for P3 here, and it's Canino in the Ferrari and Steinmine in the Red Bull. And this is good to see because we didn't get a chance really to see this past weekend. But these guys are so close on pace. It's so entertaining to watch.
Yeah, and if Stein and Canino will start fighting, that will help Hochi to close up behind them as he goes wide.
That'll also help Tiny and NAFTA to get away, so we'll see how that plays out.
And Stein is really close.
He is getting closer. He gets a good exit. Canino looks like he compromised himself a little bit and got loose on the exit. Going up to NAFTA. NAFTA's close, but not close enough. We'll go back to Steinmine. And Canino ended up getting a pretty good exit there. Now you can see here the position changes from the start. And Nero, he's in 16th, but he lost 10 positions since the start. Daily Dose of Death and Scorpio, both up 4 positions from the start. Oh, and Steinmine has a bit of contact with
Steinmine is
Canino.
really close.
Oh,
God! And he
he loses.
Plate.
Yeah. I think that was a bit too aggressive there from Steinmine, and that's going to cost him. Canino will be frustrated here. And you can see in the way that he's driving that he's pushing that car because he wants to get that position back.
And look who arrived in these two. Archie.
And
and
Canino,
spun.
he spins in the dirty air. And Yuppie and Hochi get by. So
And Vapor
Hochi,
as well.
yeah, and Hochi just behind Steinmine. So if Hochi was paying attention here, he'll know that Steinmine, he's already into the pits. I was going to say he would have known that Steinmine had a compromised wing, and he would have been able to get by fairly easily. But Hochi up into the P3 position. So great race so far for Hochi. And Yuppie's just behind. Yuppie's just behind. Nico in P5. Nico up 5 spots since the start.
Yeah, that was a great start by him and a great first 3 laps as well.
And then Vapor just behind as well. So showing he's into P6, 3 positions up on the start. He's showing that last week was not a fluke. He's been putting in work. And here he is up in P6.
Yuppie just spun.
Oh,
Yuppie
and
just
Yuppie, he spun. He spun in turn 8, the exit. And he's trying to get turned around, and this is going to cost him. Now he's all the way at the back of the field, just about.
And he retired as well.
And he's out. He's out, so we'll go back up now to P2. Nafta 7 tenths behind Tiny.
5 fence.
Yep. Now Tiny crucially has all his overtakes though. Nafta's been using it up, so he won't have as much, but he'll have enough to get down the straight. Nafta, who just sets the fastest lap. Tiny defends. This is turning out to be a great battle.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, likewise. So Domingos looks like he got by Scorpio. He's into P6. Rusty gets
just
passed.
like that, P3 and P4.
Oh, but Rusty got passed by... Yeah, Rusty got passed by Tim, but he passes him back into turn 2.
Oh, and Tim Lee came back.
And he's coming back. He throws it in there. And he gets around. There was a bit of contact on the entry, but a little bit of wheel banging. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Tim Lee's so much faster than Scorpio on those mediums.
Oh, but he throws it down the inside, Rusty, and he forces the move. Tim will not be happy about that. You could argue that Tim should have covered the inside there. You can tell when the driver behind is getting anxious, is going to throw it down in there. Surely that will be reviewed after the race. And now we'll go back on board with Nafta. Oh, and Tiny's going into the pits. Tiny's going into the pits.
That's an interesting move. Again softs, for sure. He's gonna 2-stop.
So Nafta will continue, and you'll wonder what lap Nafta is then going to pit on. He's going to go until at least 7 or 8, right?
No, I don't think so. I think he has to react to this.
He has to go now, you think?
Yeah, he has to, because he will lose much more time to Tiny. He has to react.
But this will change his strategy if he was going for a one-stopper.
If his tires are good, he can continue, and then in the end, he will be he will have much more pace.
Right.
But I think he will come in. If his tires are okay, he doesn't have to come in. But if he's it's two-way strategy. If you want, you can come in. If you don't want, you can continue, and
Right.
in the end, you will have the pace over the
Right.
guy in front. But you never know what can happen.
You never know.
A virtual safety car can happen. A safety car can happen. And if you miss the pits, nah, he's coming in for sure. Yeah.
So NAFTA comes in, he reacts, and you make a good point there. The longer you stay out on those tires and your opponent has fresher tires, you're losing time. So he has to react there. As Hochi takes the lead, who hasn't pit yet. Nico John gets by. And
Look how much he lost.
Yeah. Vapor gets by as well. So now he's 2 positions behind Tiny.
And look how much he lost. Just in one lap, and he lost 2 seconds.
Yep. So now he's gonna have to. NAFTA's gonna have to fight back through a little bit of traffic here. Vapor on old tires. This will compromise NAFTA. And he's right up against the back of him, and he'll have to be careful here. And you can see that he backs off. So heads up driving by NAFTA, but it is costing him time. And he's able to get by here in the DRS zone.
He doesn't use his DRS.
Could be the game doing a graphical glitch or something, but he gets by just the same. Vapor in the dirty air has to back off a bit. And surely it can't be long before Vapor jumps into the pits. Yep, and Yuppie said he did confirm that even though it was not the biggest hit out of the turn 8 when he spun there, his tire did break off, so that's unfortunate for Yuppie. So far he's the only DNF of the race. As Vapor jumps into the pits, Vapor's going to the end, he's on the hard tire. Now, interesting is that Canino has gone onto the hard tire as well on lap 5.
He's going to the end, yeah.
So he's going to go to the end. You would have thought that he would have made those soft tires last longer, but then again, he did spin and lose his wing. Steinmine is just behind Rusty, and he throws it down the inside of Rusty there. Nice move. Rusty left the door open. As Hochi gets a 3-second time penalty.
Rusty P5 still on those mediums.
Kubilai
He's in a really good place.
Kubilai is in the house. Or Kubilai. It's Kubilai.
Kubilai.
I used to say Kubilai, and he would tell me all the time, it's not Kubilai, it's Kubilai. So how's it going, Kubilai? The legend of Kubilai continues. Hopefully we'll see him in the race tomorrow. And Nico John's into the pits. He did 8 laps on those softs. So now we've got, again, the battle for P1 is in the hands of Tiny and NAFTA. Tiny in P1, NAFTA in P2.
Rusty's going for the move. Hochi is going for the move on Rusty.
He is, yep. And he squeezes him out a bit. Rusty will not be happy about that. Oh!
That was not nice.
And that was not a polite move. Rusty will feel that he was squeezed out on the outside there. On the entry into turn 1. He tried to reply with a move. Didn't end up working out. Doesn't look like there's any damage to Hoji's car. I think Rusty will have gotten away with that one as well. He does. Looks like his front wing is intact. They're definitely going to have a word with each other after the race now. So now we'll go on board with Nico John, and Nico John was just behind him. He was just behind him. He's on fresh softs. Rusty is on 8-lap-old mediums. The grip difference will be immense here, as you can see. And Nico John gets by.
Nice move.
Nico John gets by. Great move. Utilizing his tires to his advantage. Steinmein gets a 3-second penalty. Looks like on lap 13, or excuse me, turn 13. And it looks like someone's out, and it looks like Vapor has spun.
Oh no.
It looks like he must have touched that inside curb on that turn 12 right hill up-hander.
Oh no. Did he lost his wing as well? No.
I
no.
don't believe he did.
No, he's okay.
Looking at the end plates, yeah, everything's there. So he'll be lucky to get away with that, but that's unfortunate. And, you know, part of the issue is that he just pitted for hard tires. So those tires are probably not up to temperature, and they're not going to have optimal grip. Let's go on board with Oso, actually, because Oso is right behind Daily Dose of Dance. They're fighting for P13 here. Oh, and they're so close into turn 1 through turn 2. And I'm actually going to go now on board after this with Canino, and Canino looks like he's just behind Rusty, and they're fighting for P6. Oh, and Oso jumps down the inside, and he's passed. Oso's passed into P13. Let's go on board with Canino. Canino got by. So Canino gets by Rusty for P6.
And Nafta, he's just losing to Tiny, little by little. But the gap was 2.8 and now it's 3.2, 3.3, so he's losing a little bit of time. Tiny now is much faster than him with some of the sections of the
But
circuit.
NAFTA will know that if he drives at his absolute best, if he stays within his limits, if he focuses, he can keep up with Tiny. He needs to give it everything. He needs to be 100% focused. He needs to utilize all of the track. He cannot make any mistakes. And he knows that he can stay with them. He can absolutely stay with them. He's got to push with everything, though.
I will just see if they have some penalties. I didn't see any.
Steinmein, I believe, has a 3-second penalty. Hochi has a 3-second penalty. That's all I know so far.
Yeah.
But you look at the gap. Look at the gap to NAFTA. It's down to 2.9. So there's a push and a pull happening here with the gap. And both drivers will be on the absolute limit.
And Nico, Hochi and Stein, they're really together.
Yeah, I'm on board with Nico now. And things are going to get very interesting here on the main straight. The party has started. Everyone's got DRS. We'll see if there are any moves possible into turn 1. Oh, and Hochi gives a slight touch to Steinmein. Very slight. I think that'll be alright. He gets the DRS again behind Stein, as does Nico behind them. Oh, and Nico locks up.
Hochi wanted to go for the move, and in the last second he decided not to.
He thought the better of it. Ultimately, I think that may be a good decision.
Yeah.
As losing your wing is never worth it.
Yeah, turn 3 is really difficult to overtake him.
All he's got to do is stay with them, and he can get them on the main straight.
Yeah. If you want to overtake turn 3 just on the outside, and it's really hard to keep clean through the outside there.
And he gets wide. He goes a little wide. Nico John will be all over the backside of him here.
Oh, and he goes right here as well.
He goes wide again. And Nico John's got to be patient. He backs off a little bit. He is losing time, but he's setting up the move. He has to be smart. He is being smart.
The gap in front again, 3.2.
And we're on board now with Nico. He gets the DRS. He's just about out of overtake, so he looks like he's holding on to a little bit of overtake as Hochi's up ahead. And he hits Steinmeier again. But it was the slightest of touches.
Oh no, and Nico just spun.
Oh, and Nico spun. And now Canino, you'll see him just ahead. We'll go on board with Canino as Rusty goes into the pits. And now he's on the hard tire. He's going to go to the end.
How do you read Canino? Because I'm reading it like Brazilian football.
I don't think he's Brazilian. I don't think he's Portuguese either.
Yeah, but if you read it, you know. Oh, and Hochi just shunted into Stein. Big time. But he's okay.
And he'll want to be a little bit more calculated in his moves because you know that Stein is most likely going to want to report that to the stewards. Hochi, who is getting his... Oh, but another 3-second time penalty for Hochi. He needs to be consistent. He needs to not make mistakes, otherwise, if he's got time penalties at the end, it'll be for nothing.
And actually, Canino can jump all three of them in front because he's on the hards and he's not going to stop.
And Nero is just behind, in the battle for P9, just behind Vapor. And Hochi and Stein, they're into the pits.
Let's see who's faster. And Stein changes his wing. Hochi changes his wings. His wing.
They must have had some damage.
And jumps on the hard tires.
And these guys are going to be furious because Steinman will be pointing the finger at Hochi as the reason for the wing. And Hochi will be pointing the finger at Stein. Meanwhile, they're losing time in the race for the lead.
And in front, the gap is 5.5.
And look at this, the battle for P9, Nero continues. And they are battling very, very hard. Nero jumps down the inside. Oh! And they bang wheels, and Nero goes around. So Vapor stays ahead for now.
That was a racing instant. There is nothing
and Domingo spun.
much you can do.
Domingo spun in turn 8. So just like Yeppy did.
What is going on here? Everybody's spinning.
Well, the Domingos is on 7-lap-old mediums, but you would think that they can go longer than that. And Tiny's in the pits. Tiny's in the pits. So Nafta will have to push. Yeah, he's going to the end here on the mediums. Nafta's going to have to push now with everything. This is a lap where he can make up time. Maybe he can jump him somehow. Most likely he'll end up right behind Tiny. But this is a lap where he's got to have full party mode engaged here. We'll stay on board with this lap here with Nafta because it's so crucial to the race here. And he's flying. A little bit of a lift there into turn 12. He must have saw what happened earlier to Canino.
He's losing time.
He is losing time. But this is going to be close. And he stays out.
That's interesting.
He stays out, so he must be thinking that he's most likely not going to get the position on the pitch stop. So now he's thinking the long game. Well, what are my tires going to be like at the end of the race? Now the only problem here is if he continues out for too long, maybe he ends up behind Nico John as well after the pit stop. So that's that gap that he has to monitor.
Yeah, but Nico John has to pit again now.
He does have to pit again, but he could lose time, before he pits, being stuck behind Nico John, who has pace, but is just on older tires. So let's go on board actually with Steinmine, because Steinmine is just behind Scorpio. Steinmine on the fresh hard tires. And Steinmine must have had some contact with somebody because he's coming into the pits. He didn't need to come into the pits, but he's coming into the pits just the same. He's throwing on the soft tire. I can't say I understand that move.
Okay.
But he must be thinking now that if he's losing time, he's got to attack. So we'll see how that strategy plays out for him.
He will be on 13 lap old.
I don't believe he can make him last, but we will monitor that.
Nafta is coming in.
So Nafta into the pits. And the Mercedes crew hustling to get ready. So now all he's got to do is 13 laps. The mediums. And here is Tiny on the main straight. And this is going to be close. I think Tiny's just about going to get by as he puts in the fastest lap of the race at 1:30.121. And Nafta's ahead. Nafta is just ahead.
Wow.
Unbelievable. So
I didn't see that coming.
Amazing lap. Amazing lap by Nafta. And his gamble to do an extra lap, because Tiny had tried that undercut, it's going to pay off here because now he's on 1 lap fresher tires. And if he can hold him here for the next 6, 7, 8 laps or so, Tiny's tires are not going to be as strong. They're going to start to fade. And he is in the clear air, so he's got that advantage as well.
Look at that, Canino, P3.
And Canino P3.
After he was last.
After he spun.
On the first lap.
So today has been a nice drive by Canino. He's going to be scoring some good points if he can continue with this position. As the battle for P1 continues. And we've got fights all the way up and down the field because in P8 we got Nero, who's just behind Domingo, and Vapor as well, who's just behind them. And Nero would have got him past Vapor. So Nero will be happy to know that he's finally passed Vapor after the tough battle where he ended up spinning. Tiny's got the DRS. He goes for the move. He flies by him. And we'll see now. He had no overtake left.
Yeah.
So,
but he's on fresher tires as well.
He should be able to stay with them. We'll watch that battle here. We're watching the battle for P1. So while that's happening, Domingos goes into the pits, Nero goes into the pits, Vapor stays out, and Tim Lee just behind Rusty for 10th place. We'll go back with Nafta. And Nafta's staying with them. He is staying with them. He is right there. So crucially, Nafta's tires are going to be 2 laps fresher. And he goes for a move. He's on the outside. He's going to try to outbrake him. He's going to try to cut back now. He gets better traction. Tiny's making his car as wide as possible.
He made a great job defending that position.
He did a great job. That was all fair there. He just took the racing line, and it just so happened to get in Nafta's way, but it is what it is there. But, see, Nafta will know that if he can stay with him here, he's going to have a chance again. And as long as he stays with him, he'll have chances. As Steinmine is just outside of Tim Lee for P9. That was as close as can be, but Tim Lee gets a bad exit. But he's jumping into the pits. So Steinmine is into the pits again. And I think he would have been realizing that those soft tires weren't going to make it to the end. So now he's going on to the medium. And Tim Lee here, again in the battle for P7, Rusty just ahead of him. Oh, and it looks like Rusty braked a little bit earlier than Tim was expecting. Nice driving there by Tim to avoid a collision. And Rusty doesn't seem to have the pace he did have early in the Grand Prix. And Tim's passed. Now we're on board with Nafta, who didn't get by in turn 1. He's got the DRS. He's backing up. He knows that all he has to do is stay with them and his best chances on the main straightaway before turn 1. So he's playing the strategic game here. Now the only problem is he knows he can't make any mistakes. He can't go wide. He can't break loose. He's got to be consistent. Otherwise, he's going to get away. Oh, and Tiny gets the DRS as well. So, crucially for him, he's able to stay away here in that DRS section there. And now we're on board with Steinmine. Steinmine will have the DRS on McLaren. This is the fight for P12. And not able to make a move. Oh! And just as I say that, door is open on the inside and he gets by. We'll go back up to Nafta. The fight for P1. Not close enough, but he's there. He knows he's there. He's got to keep pushing. He gets the DRS again in the approach to turn 3. And he's there. For me, I think Nafta's doing great so far. He's where he needs to be in order to try to pressure for the win. Great race so far today. Nice debut so far from Nafta. We'll be scoring great points for Mercedes here. Which is really great to see after we had Yuppie unfortunately DNF out of the race.
Yeah, that was I think it was a misunderstanding by both of the drivers there.
You know, very likely, as Nico John is having just an immense battle with Canino, and Canino didn't make it on the hards, so he's gone for the softs. Now he's lost the position to Nico. It looks like he may have had a little bit of a shunt with Nico, but he let him by earlier in a show of good sportsmanship. He is on the faster tire as Nero gets a penalty.
And after he really cannot get the gap down, so he could attack Tiny.
Canino's on the approach to turn 14. It looks like he just about gets by Nico. He does. Nico will have the DRS, so Canino will defend. And Rusty goes off track. So now Rusty loses positions. And that defense was good enough in this case for Canino to stay ahead. And Canino now try to drive away. He is on the faster tire. And that's heads-up driving by Canino to know that even if he did pit, he was only going to lose one position. He was monitoring those gaps. He found the gap, made the pit stop, and now he's back into the P3, so it's worked out. This battle for P8 is getting interesting. It's Nero in 8th, Domingos in 9th, Rusty in 10th, and we'll go back on board as Naphtha, who's got the DRS. He might be able to make a move here.
Tiny's using his overtake, so...
As Hochi gets another penalty.
It's 9 seconds already.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Hochi because all this work that he's doing to claw himself a great result is being undone by the penalties. And Tiny goes
made a
wide.
mistake.
He goes wide. He knows it. He uses overtake. He fights for the position back. He holds on to it. But Naphtha will be smelling blood here as Canino goes fastest, 149.630. Naphta's heart will be pumping now. He'll be filled with adrenaline. He knows the
Tiny
position
made a
is there.
mistake as well.
Tiny's starting to feel the pressure. Naphta's on the inside. He's there. Tiny has to back off. Great driving by both drivers. Naphta had the positioning. He put his car exactly where he needed to make Tiny back off. Not polite, but not rude either. Great racing, but he's still there. Not the best exit for Tiny, but he will get the RS. Naphtha will be defending. He doesn't. He decides to stay back. And he's going for the cutback. He gets a great exit. Not enough to go around Tiny there on the outside. But this is turning out to be a great battle. Yeah, and Yuppie is leaving a chat or a message in the chat that was a nice overtake. It was a great overtake.
And now you can see that Naphtha it's paying off the 2 lap younger.
Yeah, but now he's going to have to be careful that he doesn't negate that tire advantage by pushing it too hard into dirty air. Because he'll be getting more tire wear in that dirty air, and at some point that could average out where then they'll end up being the same in terms of levels of grip. But he does have the advantage. Now quickly, I'm going to jump to some other people here. Domingos, who's in P9 right behind Nero on the main straight. Looks like he's going to make a move on Nero. He's by that on the outside on the straight with the DRS into turn 1. Heavy braking into turn 1, and he gets by. He locks up, but he stays ahead. But now Nero's going to be able to fight back. And he'll want to be careful there because that ended up costing him, and he knows it. That's why he backed off. Rusty's trying to hold on to P12 here. He's trying to catch P11 with Steinmine. Steinmine on the newer.
Great exit from turn 6.
And he gets by. And Domingos is losing that rear end. Those rear tires look to be overheating. You'll need to back off for a little bit. We're going to go back into the battle for P1. We're on board with Naphtha. This lap and 4 more to go. About 4.5 laps. 2 tenths behind Tiny.
And he has much more overtake than Tiny.
He does. You can start to see who is on the back foot in terms of pace when it comes to overtake. Tiny using up more to do everything he can to stay ahead. Now crucially, NAFTA gets a pretty good exit. Tiny a slightly better one. We'll see what happens here with the DRS. He's got the DRS.
Not using his overtake.
They're
I
not.
don't
It looks
understand
like
why.
it looks like they're trying to hold on to it for the end. But if you ask me, it's always better to get ahead, even if you do run out. You will be able to charge that battery with the heavy braking in the following section. So use it, if you ask me. But he holds on to it, and he is building up a charge. I think he's gonna now go on a full attack for the next lap. So the strategic element of the overtake and the ERS system, we're seeing it happen in real time here. It really is like a game of chess, where you use and where you save. And Domingos gets by Nero. So the battle for P8 continues. Nero, who had just gotten by Domingos on the run down into 9 and 10. Oh, and Nero gets a great exit. He's all over the overtake. He doesn't have much left, though. He's using it all now. And he gets by it. Oh, but they're so close. They touch on the straight. As Steinmeier gets a penalty. Oh, and NAFTA. He got by on the last corner, but he lost control a little bit.
That was not a clever move.
He did get out of it, though. It doesn't look like they made contact, at least in terms of damage. So he's still there. He hasn't lost out too much. And now Nero's falling behind Domingos. So Nero, who had just gotten by, got passed back by Domingos, and Domingos is starting to drive off. You'll want to stay with him. He's got this lap and 2 more to make something happen. And now that he's still there, he needs to push. He knows it.
Oh, and Tiny made a mistake. He's really hard on the throttle and in the exits of the turns. He's always oversteering.
He's getting impatient. He's feeling the pressure. He can see NAFTA all over his mirrors. NAFTA is staying cool, calm, collected, not making too many mistakes. Neither one with time penalties, to my knowledge. So, for the most part, both drivers not putting the wheel wrong. They will be driving at the absolute limit of grip. NAFTA with the DRS, but Tiny crucially had gotten a great exit out of the last corner. And it looks like, who is that? Yeah, it looks like Daly spun. We'll go back with NAFTA. He gets the DRS again. And he's still there. He's about 8 tenths behind. He's got this lap and another one after to try to make something happen. He is on the pressure tires. They've got roughly the same amount of overtake left, a little bit more for NAFTA. He made up a couple of tenths there. He's going to try to make up time here. He knows that Tiny's exits there aren't the best. He does get a slightly better exit. He knows he's strong there. He knows that's where he needs to push.
And he runs wide.
Yeah, he ran a little bit wide there. He ran a little bit wide there. The dirty air changing, I'm sure, the way that car feels quite a bit.
Yeah, and his tires as well, they feel now the those 10 laps.
Now they're starting to, they're starting to lose that bite. And Tiny's starting to get away a little bit. Looks like Tiny's also picking up the slipstream from the car ahead. But NAFTA, he's still there, 8 tenths behind. And this is now the last lap.
Last lap?
Yep, last lap as Steinmine gets by Rusty. And Rusty on those 14 lap old hards. Got to make it one more lap. He'll see if he can fight back for that position. We'll go back on board with NAFTA. And Tiny's got a little bit of traffic there from Scorpio. Scorpio yields. Stays out of the way, obeying the blue flags. NAFTA will need to get by immediately here. And he does. He's still got the DRS. Anything can happen here still. He's 5 tenths ahead. He's 5 tenths behind. 4 and some odd tenths behind. He knows he has the chance. He's got to get a great exit here. He gets a good exit. So does Tiny. They're using everything. Their batteries are just about out. He's 3 tenths behind. Last corner. They both get great exits. And it's not going to be enough. Tiny's going to take the win.
Great race by these two.
Great race. Great race. And it does look like NAFTA had a 3-second time penalty, but doesn't change the fact that that was a tremendous battle there for the lead. Canino with a great recovery drive, scoring great points for Ferrari. He's currently in P3.
And he has the fastest lap as well.
He does have the fastest lap. So that'll be an extra point on top. A great result for Canino. And it's good to see him back after seeing his great race that he showed in the preseason race. Now Nico John, on these 11-lap-old medium tires, gets around the last corner, and now he will cross the line in P4.
In an unusual way.
Yeah, in an unusual way. And look at Hochi. Hochi, penalty or no penalty? He's in P5. Great drive from Hochi.
That was a really nice drive from him.
And Vapor, look at Vapor go, because Vapor is on 20-lap-old cards.
Wow.
He's stuck to his strategy. He made it work. He's crossing the line, and he's in P6. Tim Lee just behind him in the other McLaren. 17-lap-old cards. He's in P7.
The two McLarens are scoring big points here.
Yeah, Zach Brown's going to be delighted.
Yeah. Yeah, he will be.
They're going to get a big old hug from big old Zach Brown.
Come to my stomach.
What a race. That was a great race.
That was a really nice race. The first two, they were just dominating the whole race. Like nobody could catch them.
No.
As we would see, we could see it from the qualifying as well. They were ahead.
A different level of pace.
Yeah, they were ahead by a lot of time. So.
Yeah, well, there's the results. So Tiny in P1 in the Alpha, NAFTA P2, Canino P3, Nico P4, Hochi P5, Vapor 6, Tim Lee 7th, Domingo's 8th, Nero 9th, Scorpio 10th, Rusty 11th, Steinmine 12th, McLaren in 13th, Oso in 14th, Daily Dose to Death in 15th, and Yuppie with the Soul DNF. He is in 16th. So that's going to be a wrap here for today. Thank you for tuning in. This was the Performance Racing League Development Tier 2 race here at Round 2 at Bahrain. Next weekend, it'll be followed by Round 3 at Vietnam. And stick around because tomorrow we got the Tier 1 race. And that's going to be at 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So thank you for joining me, Renee.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Take care, everybody.